Hey YouTube! Sorry I haven't been making many videos lately. Any, actually. I've been working a lot. That'd be an understatement. Anyway, I'm back. I'm gonna answer a sort of simple question. It's not really simple. Will overclocking damage your components? Here's your short answer. Kind of. But stick around for the explanation. Okay, so when you overclock your, let's just take your processor for example. Alright, most modern day processors have a boost clock in addition to their base clock, which is kind of sort of like its own little overclock, kind of. So if you look at the boost clock, you know that the processor can reach, let's say, let's take the Ryzen 7 1700. Its base is 3 gigahertz, but it can go up to 3.7 gigahertz. So, if it was to run at 3.7 gigahertz all the time, will it damage it? Not really, because it's designed to do that. I have mine running at 3.85 on all the cores. That's a thing for another video, but when you have the... I just said it. Boost clock, there we go. When you have the boost clock, it only does one core, not all of them. But I have my processor running at 3.85 gigahertz on all of the cores. And now how did I accomplish that? Well, when you overclock a processor, you have to increase the voltage and the frequency. Obviously, if you just increase the voltage, that's not going to help you. That would just be stupid and really detrimental, because you're giving it more power, but you get the point. You obviously are increasing the power so that you can increase the speed. And heat would probably be more detrimental than any other factor of this overclocking, unless you don't really know how to overclock, you're new to it or whatever, and you do something like increase the voltage like by 1 volt. That would probably cause a lot of problems. Obviously you have to do your homework before overclocking, but okay, look at it this way. Yes, it will cause your components to degrade slightly faster than if you just ran it at stock speeds and stock voltage and all of that. But how often are you planning on upgrading your processor, your graphics card, your RAM even, if you like to overclock your RAM? Which Ryzen does actually get performance, it gets quite a bit of performance out of increasing, out of overclocking the RAM. Intel not so much. But how often are you going to replace that? Because my Ryzen 7 1700, it's been overclocked for 5-6 months, no problems, and I don't think it's going to have any problems. Obviously, if you have like really cheap components, this isn't a good idea to overclock your stuff. You have to have good cooling for one, because heat is a major problem, and if the temperatures get out of control, it'll either throttle, which will then actually be worse than if you hadn't overclocked it at all, or it'll just cause it to degrade a lot faster. But are you planning on upgrading it every year? Every 2 years? Every 3 years? Because I would probably plan on upgrading my graphics card between about let's go with every 2 years. My processor probably every 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. I know that like the first Intel i7 processors are actually still pretty good today. So there's your little explanation, because yes, okay, the short and blunt answer is yes, it will cause it to degrade faster, but then look at it this way. Are you really going to be planning on using the same processor and graphics card in 8 years? 7 years? 6 years? 5 years? I don't think so. Probably in 5 years you'll even be using another motherboard, let alone processor and graphics card and RAM. So, there you go. If you learned something, like. If you didn't, dislike, comment, and tell me what you think.